I want to start today's video with thanking Mr. Coots and Mr. Gillespie for writing in the mid-30s, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, on which my thumbnail is obviously based. My name is William Hutchison. Along with my wife, we own Armenia, Colombia Realty for expats and Salento Colombia Realty here in Armenia and Salento, Quindío, Colombia. Today I would like to maybe help you out, give you some ideas. If you're considering coming to the Armenia area, some of my comments will be general to Colombia itself, and maybe it'll help you make a decision and get started on what you need to do to come to Colombia, perhaps retire here. As the thumbnail suggests, I think the first thing that I would do is, after doing a lot of research, I would make a list. The one thing you have to understand about Colombia is whatever you want as a climate, you can get here. You can be in the cooler areas, for example, Bogota, that's at elevation. I think I read a while back the highest temp it's ever been in Bogota since they started recording over 100 years ago is 82. Many times in the morning in Bogota, I've been there for my visa, people are wearing jackets, sweaters. It's at best in the low 60s and then maybe gets up to 70 during the day. You can check those numbers on one of the weather sites. Close to here is Manizales. It's a little higher than Armenia and Pattaya, and it's mid-70s too most days. The nice thing about there, it's in the mountains and there's hot springs. It's a beautiful place to live if you like a cooler climate. So I think what you have to do, number one, is you nail down in what climate you want to live. And you look at that. For example, here in Armenia, there's 3 or 4 microclimates. At the airport, when it's 85, closer to town, because the airport's south of town a few kilometers, it's maybe 82. You get into the center of town, it's 80. You come here in the north of town and it's 78. And you go 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers north, and it's 75. All based on elevation. It's higher as you go north. So once you've decided that, I think on your list, I would put down 3 headings. The first one would be need, the second one would be want, and the last column would be called would be nice. And in my mind, the 2 things for retired people that are most important are medical and convenience. The medical here in Armenia is second to none. Colombia has just been rated by WHO, and a number of other agencies are similar numbers too. Been rated number 22 in the world by WHO. Canada is in the low 30s, the US is in the high 30s. So at least in their mind, the medical care in Colombia is much better than it is in those 2 countries. Most of the higher rated countries are in the Far East. Japan is number 1 on many ratings. And then you get the Nordic countries too, Norway, Sweden, those countries. I had a personal experience, my wife did, around Christmas time. It was doctor on Monday, ultrasound on Thursday, biopsy with the result on Friday. So 96 hours to find out what the result was on what could have been a serious medical condition. I don't think you can beat that. You may find equal. I doubt in Canada that where I'm from that you would get the result that quickly. I think you can live close to Armenia. In fact, I know you can live close to Armenia uh, and not be in the city itself. There's a lot of nice places to live, and you can take advantage of that kind of medical condition, medical availability. There's some promotion going on for rural areas, closest hospital, good hospital, 3 hours away on a good day. Others a couple of hours. I mean, if you have a serious medical problem, you could be dead. You could die in the ambulance. Where here in Armenia, where I live, north part of town, the medical center is maybe at most 10 minutes away in a taxi. Ambulance, probably 7 or 8 minutes. So I think for retired people, that's a big consideration. The other thing that I think you have to zero in on your need is the convenience. The convenience of the airport. Here in Armenia, the Armenia International is 35 minutes away from the north side of town, and Pareja, another international airport, is 45 minutes. So if you can't get a flight out of Armenia, you look at the routes that are being offered out of Pareja. I can tell you that out of Fort Lauderdale, Spirit flies to many cities in Colombia direct. Medellin is in it, I think Cali, I think Bogota, I know Pareja and Armenia are, and the flights will just a little over 3 hours. So very convenient if you have to get back home. The column that's headed up, it would be nice. You can fill in on your own. But I think those two, the medical and the convenience, are the big ones. One thing to put in the back of your mind is that if you want to become a homeowner here, you have to consider what you're going to have to sell the day that you buy. And if it's a property that basically is specific to you, to your likes, and your feeling, perhaps you want to live very rural, it's going to be difficult to sell when you want to sell it. I've seen one here being promoted on YouTube, small town, 35,000 people, big place right in the middle of town, hours from everything, and they're wanting 250,000 US dollars. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, who would you sell that property to? Colombians, for the most part, don't have that kind of money. And who wants to live in the middle of town, 3 hours from the airport and similar distance from a good hospital? It just doesn't work. So be careful. Itemize the things that you need for starters, and then get back into your research and see what there is available. It's a beautiful country. If you want hot and humid, look at Cartagena, look at Barranquilla, Santa Marta, those cities on the Caribbean coast. If you want cooler, there's all kinds of that, little pueblos close to major cities. I wouldn't really look at any place that wasn't reasonably close to a city of a couple 100,000 people, because that's where you're going to get the medical care and also the convenience. You'll get a decent airport as well. If there's anything that we can help you with, please get in touch. Okay, our contacts are at the bottom. There's a lot of videos here with information. We maybe have skipped through some things, and if you want some clarification, just get in touch. The one thing I will tell you is that we don't bother people. If you call me and have a couple of questions and I give you the answers and you're happy with those, you'll never hear from me again. I don't like being bothered with unsolicited sales or promotions or anything else. I don't do it to other people. While I think of it, please subscribe. It gets the information out to other people. You can do that by clicking on the little round photo up in the corner. William Hutchison, Armenia, Colombia Realty for Expats, and Salento, Colombia Realty, signing off. Have a great day. I live in paradise, and you can too.